Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Josh Guillory Show. I am your grateful host, and in studio with me, Q Money Magic Man. What's up, Q?
Another beautiful day in Lafayette.
Another beautiful day in the neighborhood. That's doggone right. And to my right, who is usually right, if not always right, my cousin again. What a blessing, Senator Albert Guillory. What's going on, cousin?
Comment c'est, cousin?
It's
a fabulous Friday out there.
It is Friday all day. Did y'all know that? All the way to midnight. You can even celebrate it after that if you want. Hopefully I'm sleeping. Anyway, guys, hey, we're broadcasting live from the KPEL studios. I want to see you on the Rumble chat. I want you live. I want you hot. I want you heavy. Bring it, baby. Rumble.com. Look up the Josh Guillory Show. Let's have fun, guys. Have y'all heard of this situation? The Epstein files. You may have stumbled on that.
I think I saw something once.
Yes, he's been around.
I think to all the
shoe
elites.
salesman guy?
I tell you what, he could sell some shoes. He could, and like your old school suit. So let's dive into this one. It's a pretty big one, obviously. So Republican senators, hey, shout out to our own senator John Kennedy, by the way, just telling the DOJ to release every Epstein file that mentions President Trump. Nothing to hide. Let's go. Let the truth be the truth.
And that's really what should happen. That is what this nation needs. Trump needs it. The Congress needs it so they can get this Epstein business behind them and move forward.
Absolutely. Lay it out there. So kudos to all the Congress folks, whether in the upper chamber or lower chamber, for calling for this. And kudos to Republicans for staying true, man. Just truth. But great. So Kennedy said it. Kennedy said it the only way that Kennedy can say it, but I'll summarize it. Release the documents, redact the victims, protect minors, but release the documents. And I think that is what the American folks right now are saying. I mean, even Gracely said when Congress passes a law that says release all documents, that means release
all documents.
Thank you. What would Congressman Elbert, it won't be Congressman this Guillory, it'll be that one. Congressman Elbert Guillory, what would you be doing on Capitol Hill right now if you were in that committee?
Trying to get to the truth. Trying to get through all of the humbug and all of the posturing, all of the politics, and get right down to the truth. Did someone violate the law? If someone did, who was it? What exactly did they do? And let's get them before a jury of their peers, get them convicted, and send them to jail.
Well, and I think the main the main story or the main point is there, at least it's coming from Republicans, calling for truth and saying, hey, we're not just bring it out there. And to your point, just put a lid on the gumbo pot. It's time to serve the doggone thing and move on.
Absolutely. We've wasted far too much time. And the victims, of course, have waited far too long.
Exactly. Who did we shield? And for all these years, But I think that the message coming out from Congress right now saying we're not hedging our words. We're saying maybe is not included. It's saying do it. And here's kind of what's happening. There are reports that certain FBI memos summarizing interviews with the woman who made allegations against Trump were listed in an index, but they weren't included in the public release. And that's some of the concerns of Congress. The DOJ says, Pam Bondi and her crew say, well, only privileged or duplicate materials were withheld. They also say they're reviewing whether anything was improperly tagged in the process. And I think once that kind of happened, immediately the oxygen kind of starts to rush back into this fire.
That whole Bondi statement sounds like a whole lot of humbug to me.
Hiding behind that?
That's terrible. We had a better word than humbug in the Navy. But,
You cleaning it up. It's a family program, Cousin.
well, that's why I'm using the filter.
Well, I'll tell you who's not using the filter. Don Who on Rumble.
What did he say?
Well, it's on the Rumble. We said, didn't Hillary? I'm just gonna throw it out there. He said, didn't Hillary kill him? What? Y'all think the Clintons killed Epstein?
Yes.
What? I'm just repeating. I'm repeating. Shout out, That's Real, Shall You Win? Kill Switch. Good afternoon. Yes, indeed. Yes.
If anyone was going to kill him, I believe it would have been the father of one of the children who are alleged to have been improperly treated.
Exactly. You know, and that's who's never, their voice is never heard. We shield all these elites, but but going back to this, Bondi's statement is kind of reckless. But the decisions to not lay everything out there can be argued was reckless. And maybe it was so much that there were some mistakes made because you say release them all but still protect people. Well, they're maybe they can argue they're doing their best they can, doggone it. But I think Republicans pushing transparency is a good sign for the party. And I think that is, and not just lip service. That's the key, not just lip service. I think they understand right now, at least these senators, kudos, including our own, they understand the temperature of the country, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I believe that all of Americans, or 95% of us, are really tired of the foot dragging, sweeping stuff under the carpets. This is just, it's humbug. Let's get right to it.
Yeah, selective justice. That's what we're tired of. Selective disclosure, selective everything. That's what the folks are tired of. All right, but you know what? We got to take a tiny little break. When we get back, we're bringing the heat. Let me see you over there. I appreciate that, chat. We're going to stay on Rumble here in a little bit, man. Give us about 30 seconds. All right. So, Quentin, don't put another story that has the word arrest, indict. I'm skipping Clinton. Don't. and you hit and you get a point or something. But hey, thought I'd tell everybody. Anywho, all right, let's go. It's Friday. All right, yeah, look, kudos to our Republicans on Capitol Hill. I think that's fantastic. They want everything out there on the Epstein files, even if it includes Trump. They don't want all this curated truth. The American people certainly are tired of selective anything, selective rage, selective coverage, selective disclosures, selective everything. But we want the whole file. Redacted properly, of course, published fully. Context would be nice if they could. That would, just context if you can. But I think the real political reality here is, and I think this is a sad reality, but at least half of our country does not trust the justice system. Period. From top to bottom. We have more than half of our country that does not trust the justice system. We have more than half our country that do not trust definitely the FBI at the federal level, but maybe at other levels. And we have a whole lot of conservatives that believe power has been weaponized. And that is un-American for sure, definitely immoral, highly unethical, and probably unlawful. So in this regard, in Epstein, at the federal level, when documents get reviewed, and we say at the federal level, we said this yesterday, it's actually a local level that was, for whatever reason, was brought to this. And interestingly enough, Pam Bondi was involved apparently at the lower level as well. So I'm just saying.
I'm just happy that Republicans are the ones who stood up and who are providing the leadership to get us through this and get all of this out on the table so that everyone can see it. This leadership for transparency makes me proud.
Absolutely. And what they're doing right now in the legislative branch, I believe, is protecting the presidency. You got to lay it, hey, you're a big boy. You've been there twice. You can, everything else, come on. Why not, right? But, geez. But that's the environment we're in. Like, right now, when we, the public, when we see documents getting, reviewed or tagged or withheld, like, people don't shrug. We assume games are played. And when you have the environment that we just discussed, that's a big deal. That's some bad synergy. So here's the only move that works, in my humble 2 cents opinion. Dump it. Dump the info. Follow the law, redact victims, protect minors, but release the material. You got memos, publish them. Allegations reviewed and dismissed. We'll say that clearly because I think that's fair. If files were closed, show it.
Transparency is what we are after. Transparency is what we need. Put all of the cards on the table, turn them up so that everyone can see, and then let the chips fall where the chips will fall. But America deserves the transparency.
100. Albert, just hypothetically, you spent some time in the Capitol. If there were to be like a Louisiana Epstein list,
yeah.
Do you think you could identify any names that could be on? Well, I didn't say the names. Is it a yes or no? Do you think you could?
Without question. Without question.
There's a question worth asking. Bring it home.
Certain types of people gravitate to this kind of stuff that was going on. The parties, the trips, the private island, all of that. In every state capital and in Washington, D.C., there are certain types of politicians who play that kind of game. And we all know who they are. We know each other.
Do you think that that behavior you can still get away with it in 2026?
Yes, without a doubt.
Wow.
Power is what we're talking about, and there are still powerful people, moneyed people, who dance around the law, who don't follow the law, and who do these kinds of things. I can assure you that this kind of stuff that Epstein did is taking place, and I don't know all of what he did because I wasn't there. But
We're going to get that one out there.
absolutely.
We'll get that fact out there.
But that kind of stuff is taking place probably in every state in the United States. But fortunately, it's coming to an end. In Washington, D.C., the Republicans are taking a stand against it. I think we should do the same thing here in Louisiana and across this country. Victims deserve much better.
Absolutely, and I will tell you. So locally, shout out to the sheriff here in Lafayette for working with ICE and working with border agents and things like that in the Trump administration. I say that. There's many sheriffs doing that, so shout out to all of them. But look where we sit, where we're broadcasting, I-49, I-10. You know, so it all goes together. The border, you know, the interstate system, our logistics, we love it, but it can also help the bad guys. So, you know, but having these guys all on the same page on this one unified mission in light of all the examples that we see where you have local leaders flipping the bird basically and saying, I'm not going to do any of this federal ICE stuff. I saw one of the mayors put up their little sign saying, we're not doing it, you know? So in light of all those examples, it's good to have good local leadership there.
It's about time.
Yeah.
I've never been able to understand how local leaders, well, actually, I do understand. It's simply bad politics, where local leaders will just not cooperate with the federal officials because they're illegal immigrants throughout this country. And law enforcement needs to cooperate and let everyone, if you're going to come into this country, come in through the front door. Apply the right way. Don't break in through the back door or through the back window, the side window. And if we clean all of the illegals out and then start fresh, and anyone who wants to come in, just apply and do it the right way.
How about follow the science too, right?
Absolutely.
Follow the science. Well, you know, following your science guys, you should love what Elbert just said, because if you simply just follow the law, that requires you to follow the science in the home country and make sure that you're not bringing any illnesses to our country that can hurt people and American families and businesses. So
right now, we're having the biggest measles outbreak in decades. And it's because we open the doors and have a whole lot of people coming in. Same thing is true. I'm told that there's a rise in polio. So it's.
I heard that the other day too. Maybe we can fact check that in the break. I'd like to. Let's see what we can pull up in the break. Hey guys, stick around. We'll be right back. We're good. What's up, my Rumble peeps? All my streaming folks out there. Hey, guys, I felt so bad. I said I would come to you 30 seconds after that last break, and doggone, I failed you. But it wasn't intentional.
It was all my fault.
It was his fault.
I hit the wrong button. We transmitted to Mars instead.
Hey, the Martians. We got Senator Elbert Gilroy with us. We want him to come back, not choke. Yeah. So, hey guys. So I hope you appreciate. I hope y'all enjoyed that. I think we should probably move on. Quentin's going to fact check a little. Not say fact check. He's going to look up. I'd like to see, because I heard that too, Kuzan, that the polio was going up. I heard about measles a while back, but I didn't realize it was that high.
Yes, very high.
You know, really, just a common sense thing. Because I do think common sense is common amongst the regular folks. It's just not common in government.
That's sadly.
You know? But like most people can understand, all right, we've gone a long way, about a century, to eradicate a lot of these illnesses in our country.
Exactly.
You just spent 2 years telling us to put 3 masks on our children in a car by themselves. Why are you the same people that just want to open the border and say, come on down? It doesn't make a sense.
It's a shame that we can't hold people like Biden responsible for those open border policies and all of the problems that have flowed from those open border, like measles and all of the rest of this stuff.
Ooh, that's an interesting question or thought. Because you can think about it. You can think about it legally.
Yes.
From a civil standpoint, for sure. You could think of it politically, of course, but that's. I mean, I think that's no. But just just policy wise.
I think parents of children who have now contracted measles should sue him directly and get some of that personally and get back some of all that money that.
Well, that's true. Okay, what if we just stipulate? What if we stipulate? It has to be from the big guy money.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair, because the big guy money is big money.
Well, he's the one who made the decision.
Man, it is crazy looking. I'm not coming from, I don't know what the heck happened, all right? But something happened, obviously, from 2020 to 2023. Or I'm sorry, my years are off. 20 to 2023. I mean, the decline. But he was in all this powerful positions, doing all this stuff, or at least it looks like it. I don't know. And then just gets the presidency from this basement, and just all of a sudden, am I the only one that well, hello, Semper Fi over there. I'm not the only one that's thinking this. What's up, partner? Glad you can make it. That's my boy Kiss just rolling up in here. You're gonna have to be. Can we get him? He won't be on camera. It just have to be audio.
I can get. Oh, you want me on audio? Three Musketeers.
What else you doing?
Well, I came to give you a check.
Oh man, thank you.
Well,
Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting live from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. We're also broadcasting live on Rumble, rumble.com. Go check us out, man. Shout out to all the other folks on there. That's Real Shad. They got podcasts. I love it. I love it. And I do. It's good. It's good. And to all the folks, because I'm telling you, This is kind of how we're going to process information, at least for the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years. People just want truth, and it's going to take all of us little microbreweries to come together and just talk about it and cipher through it. We'll give you what we think we'll give you what we think, but we can't wait to hear what you think. So, anywho, look, we got some local elections going on. By the way, my boy Keith Kishbach came in. Kish is going to stay with us for a segment. I suckered him into doing it. Sound the charge.
Well, I don't have a key to the door. You won't let me out.
Well, that's right. Exactly.
No,
right
just
here,
kidding.
baby.
Just kidding.
I just want to point out that the Marine Corps, the Navy, and the Army are now represented.
That's
At
true.
these
That's true.
microphones.
That's true.
Sound
Yeah.
the charge. And shout out to the Coast Guard folks, because of my understanding, they're working without pay right now, unless they figured some kind of deal
Wait,
out.
Coast Guard, TSA, maybe,
And
Yes,
thanks
sir,
to
yes.
and
7 Republicans.
and Secret Service.
Man, 7 Republicans died on that hill. That's the hill you wanted to die on? If you would have told me after 9/11, after you are not going to, 7 Republicans are not going to fund the Department of Homeland Security?
That is insanity. That's political suicide. It has to be.
Yes, absolutely. So it is. I would imagine. Now, we rattled off some of the names. Some of them are and we could pull them up. I don't recall all of them, but I remember the number because that's out. That's insane.
I'm not as intelligent and well schooled as you,
Albert.
and Quentin. Now, Albert's like way above me.
Yeah.
You're a step above me,
Whoa.
maybe 2.
Man, I'm just a country boy from
And
Lord
then,
Tell
and
Me.
then, and Quentin, he's off the charts technically. So, is that not some form of treason? Maybe.
No.
No.
I ain't going the T word.
So wait a minute. So if you're not going to fund your military, and well,
Man, let me tell you, it's unimaginable for considering the circumstances that our country has gone through. I'm just saying, if you would have told me in 2001 or 2002, I guess it was 2002 when we created it, probably, or 03, right after 9/11, 03, there you go. Thanks, Q. 2003, if you'd have told me that any Republican would vote to not fund the Department of Homeland Security, we would have laughed. At that point, we would have laughed if any Democrat wouldn't have supported the Department of Homeland Security.
Josh, but was the 7 Republicans sitting with the Democrats during the?
Did they go to their middle school debate? Their little debate club? That's what you're referring to? Where'd they do it? Where?
No, during the
Lincoln Memorial?
State of the Union, where they're sitting with the Democrats.
Oh, yeah.
Because they voted with the Democrats.
They should. They should. Was Senator Kennedy and Senator Cassidy sitting together?
I
Albert's
can't
face.
wait to see the picture.
I want to hear the conversation. All right, let's talk a little politics here, shall we? All right, so we got the U.S. Senate race. Obviously, that's the big one here in Louisiana. So you got some politicos over here. Kish, you're all up in the party's business. Albert, you've been in and out. You also are within the party, but also you've run for office. Kish, you've run. You guys been out there?
Elected.
I know, and that's representing the party.
Yes.
Yes, elected to the.
At this time, I am still for the next 2.5 years an elected official, State Central Committee.
Me too.
Thank you both,
That's
gentlemen.
right, Albert too.
So what's the buzz? What are we hearing on the U.S. Senate race here in Louisiana?
Looks like John's killing it.
So we saw that recent poll. I was not aware of. We talked about it yesterday on the show, I believe. Now, Treasurer Fleming is in the lead, followed by
Substantially.
like two to one, is my understanding, to Congresswoman Letlow, who leads Senator Cassidy. Which, that to me, fellas, that was a surprise.
Louisiana's not going to vote for Cassidy.
No.
They're not going to. They'll never. No matter how much money he spends, we're not going to change our minds about the stabbing of the back of Donald Trump, trying to impeach him, try to put him in prison. Come on, man.
My daddy would have said, had he still been alive, he would have said he's torn his best pair of breeches.
Burnt that
Underwear is
bridge.
what he would have said.
And Julia, I thought she was going to be a lot stronger with the Trump recommendation endorsement. But here's what's coming next.
I did too.
Here's what's coming next. Cassidy's not going to make it. It's going to be Ledlow and Fleming, and then we're going to see how they're going to come after Fleming. But he's pretty squeaky clean.
He is, man.
No,
he's like
he squeaks
he
when he
is
walks.
So,
The
but
only
but,
thing they
but he's
found out-
real. He's
Yeah,
a real dude.
No,
That dude's a real
I
guy.
love the dude. I
Yeah.
love the dude. You know, I would have supported him from the jump because you know I was supporting Blake, and you're not your typical politician. Like I leave the dance with the girl I brought. Okay.
Boom. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, and I agree. I'm with
so God bless Blake, but no, I'm all about Fleming. He's what did they say the other day? I think one of the announcers said the guy in the morning. He does a real good job. What's his name?
Joe.
Joe. Yeah, he's pretty sharp.
Yeah.
He's saying, the thing on Fleming is he don't play well with others. I'm like, is that all you got?
Well, okay, let's talk about that. Because that's the contrast. I'm not going to say he does play well with others. You don't.
I think so too.
I mean, you don't.
But that's all you got.
Yeah, that's not a good one. But let's talk about that. I think with Fleming, us conservatives will be very happy with the consistent conservative vote, just like we have usually with Senator Kennedy. All right. With Julia Letlow, you're going to have 100% Republican vote. I don't see her ever voting against. Now, I say that I understand the record thing that's going out there, but when it comes time to vote, she will not balk the establishment. She will be right in there, and I'm talking establishment Republican. That's probably going to make you happy most of the time, but if you're a conservative, which I share with your thoughts, there will be some frustrations with that choice. But you're still going to have a net positive from what you have now, in my opinion. So that's my assessment. Now, my beliefs, yes, I am philosophically way more conservative in this race. This is my view, so I probably would lean more to that candidate. But I'm not crying if Julia Letlow becomes the senator.
Sadly, her voting record indicates that she has voted more with Biden, with the Joe Biden administration, than any other member of the Republican Louisiana delegation.
More so than Cassidy, I understand. Huh?
Absolutely, more than Cassidy.
Well, did she have more votes? It's a House. The House works more than the Senate, don't they?
So you're going to tell me that the leopard's
Ooh,
going to change her stripes?
I'm grinding it, boy.
Move from one cage to the next. The stripes are going to stay the same.
Y'all better say some nice things about Julia.
That is nice. Come on,
I'm
look, we're
I'm
real.
true.
We're
Let me
for
tell you,
real, man. We're real. We're not
I
going to
met
BS.
I met that nice lady and she was kind to me. Hey, y'all hear my analysis. That's where I stand objectively. I think y'all bring a very good point, though. Actions may speak louder than words here, Good point, gentlemen. All right, we're going to take a tiny little break, man. Shout out to my folks over there at Praise Y'all's, too. I'm getting hungry announcing all these great restaurants.
I'm already thinking about one of those Marie Laveau pizzas.
Man, as soon as I said that, absolutely the last time. All right, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. We are broadcasting live from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Let's take a call, man. Open up them phone lines. I'm so sorry, guys. 232-1542, 844-766-6607. All the hard calls go to these guys. All the easy ones come to me and Quentin. All right, go ahead. Caller, you are live on the Josh Guillory Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Something wrong.
What up? What up, something Wong? Always love your calls.
Hey, I definitely like what you guys are doing, but you were talking earlier about the Jeffrey Epstein files, and I'll tell you what, one of the things that we have in South Louisiana is Senator Clay Higgins, and he's on District 3, and he's the only man that voted against releasing the files, and he spent his entire lifetime focusing on law to protect victims and prosecute people that are bad. And that's, something that we need to look at as society is, the victims. Protect them and prosecute those that are bad. I just wanted to bring that up because everybody's all, Epstein this, Epstein that, blah, blah, blah. Hey, what about the victims?
Mm-hmm.
Protect them.
Yep.
And I thank you for your time, and you guys keep being conservative.
Hey, 100%. That's one thing you don't have to worry about. Something Juan. Hey, Mr. Blue Wave, we're coming right to you. I love when he calls in. What a good point. I can give you my quick thoughts on that. From what I understand, Congressman Higgins was very principle-based here, and he explained it like a man should, and was very straightforward, and it was victim-oriented. He said, I've said this from the beginning, and he was one of the first Congress folks to be pushing this, and it would have done it had we followed his plan. The victims' voices would have been heard more and protected more. And I think some of the efficiency problems that we're having right now, and notice how I said that, guys, that was kind. We're having some efficiency problems from the Justice Department on these files. Anyway, I'm handing it to y'all. I think he was principle-based. I think he likes the outcome, but would have liked to seen those protections in, and that's why he voted that way. I respect him, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate that call. That was well said.
He was clear in his expressions about it. He wanted the victims protected. He wanted transparency, but the victims were uppermost in his analysis, and I respect that. Great law enforcement guy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
100 more like him, I'm telling you. I've
my
gotten to
goodness.
know him personally over the years. Rode with him for years. He's first class.
What you see is what you get. I love it. All right, let's go to my friend, Mr. Blue Wave. Mr. Blue Wave, red wave time. I don't want to hear it. Come on, my dear buddy. What's going on?
Prediction. Did I tell y'all that the blue Seahawks, gonna win?
He did.
I bet. Prediction in November too. I'm serious.
No way.
Oh yeah.
You don't see me on
November's
Rumble.
coming up.
You don't see me on Rumble right now, Mr. Blue Wave. I got my fist up. I'm telling you, I'm ready. We're going to do this.
Oh.
Hey, no matter what, though, Mr. Blue Wave, win or lose, either way, me and you, we're going in the boat.
That's it.
We're going in the boat. We're having a
That's
fun
it.
time.
Hey, we gotta stay away from Cuba. We don't get shot. We sure don't get shot at.
I love it. Thanks, Mr. Blue Wave. Always a joy. Also a joy. Let's go to my buddy, Justin. Justin always brings some good thoughts. What's up, my man?
Okay, so I want to touch on something that Mr. Elbert said a little while ago.
Go for it.
He said that on the Epstein issue, he said he thank God that the Republicans are taking the leadership position on this. I want to know how you come to that conclusion, because it was the Democrats that were pushing for this, and Marjorie Taylor Greene got pushed out of Congress, and Lauren Boebert got summoned to the Situation Room for a dressing down because they were joining and gave them enough signatures to get this passed.
Albert?
I certainly agree with you that the Republicans were not always in this leadership position that they're in today. I was talking about today's leadership, today's demands for transparency, and for bringing this whole thing up and out, having all of the information coming forth and being put on the table today. Sadly, once again totally agree with you that this level of leadership has not always been apparent.
Hey, Justin, one thing I would think, what do you think about this? I think it's 100% Democrats right now because there's a Republican president. And then you get a few Republicans that agree. If we flip it, I bet you it would be 100% Republicans and then maybe a few Democrats. So I think we could probably recognize that. What do you think?
Absolutely. And that's why, like Moon and, some other people, I'm in no party because the old saying is the left wing and the right wing is still connected to the same bird that craps on us.
Justin,
that's a good one.
Man, you brought it twice today, son. All right, hey, I appreciate you. We're running out of time for this hour. That was good. I'm telling you, hey, he brings, and he's very kind. He sent us a nice card for. I'm telling you, that Veterans Day, I still have it in my desk, and I told him that the other day. Hey, look, as we wrap up, I just want to get a special shout out to my friends over there at CSafe. Go to their website, csafe.com, SEA, just like the ocean. If you are building things, that whether it's major operations or even residential offshore platforms to anything in between what I just said, if you need FRP projects, they are engineered very well over there at CSafe. And right here in the United States, American workers right here in Acadiana, CSafe, SEA, just like the ocean, csafe.com. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Hour number 2, we are bringing the heat. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Josh Guillory Show. We are broadcasting live from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Also broadcasting live on Rumble. Let me see you over there at Rumble, like Rumble in the Jungle, rumble.com. You can also go to my X page at Josh Guillory USA. I remain to be your grateful host. And in studio with me still is Q Money Magic Man. Man, I'm doing good. You had a good break?
I did.
We lost one teammate, but we picked up another one. That's okay. We have Senator Elbert Guillory with us still in hour number 2. Thank you, Cousin.
It's good to be here. But Josh, you're always so serious here.
Well, but it's Friday. You bring that up on such an interesting time because it is just joking with Janet. Come on, JJWJ in the hizzy for Shizzy. What's up, Janet? Bring some smiles to our face.
Okay, y'all ready for a joke?
Always.
The world may be chewing us up and spitting us out, but we're built like a piece of corn.
Man, that was a good one.
That was good.
That's up there with herring egg or whatever you said.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to repeat that one day. I liked it.
That was a good one. Guys, every Friday we are blessed to have Just Joking with Janet, Kill Switch. I hope you saw that. I know you're a big Miss Janet fan. And we all are. She has a very hard task of keeping us all of us cats heard. Like she herds us all. Like, get to the station.
That's it.
You know, you get off the air one time and she fusses you. Like, you know, it's like dead air for 5 minutes. It happens.
Not over here.
That's right. Thank you, Janet. Appreciate you. All right, let's. Hey, Albert, you brought up something in the break I didn't recall. What's the deal with the Boy Scouts? What's going on over there?
You know, the Scouts for years and for decades, they've been a bastion of traditional American values.
Right.
And within the last decade, the last 10 years or so, they have become more woke. They have instituted a lot of DEI policies and transgender policies. And now they've just announced that they are abandoning those DEI policies and transgender policies and going back to just basic American values. And I'm happy to see that they've done that. The Scouts can be a good part of American masculinity for teaching boys manhood and how to be responsible men. They had gone off track for a while. I'm glad that they're back on track.
Absolutely. And I will tell you this, everybody has their own experience. I never participated in Boy Scouts. Wish I would have. It was seems to be a great program, but when I was in basic training, I don't know about you, but them Eagle Scouts, whew, they were smoking us. They were like way ahead. Land navigation, knots, all that stuff. I mean, just discipline. Really, you could that's my tiny experience with that. Very happy to see that. And basically what you're telling us is the Boy Scouts are choosing to no longer subscribe to racism and is not going to treat, sadly, folks that are going through a mental disorder. They're not going to say that that's okay not be treated, basically.
That is correct.
All right, so a little more common sense.
Now, you mentioned Scouts and racism. I couldn't join the Scouts when I was a boy 80 years ago.
Okay.
And I was able to get the Scouts manual, though, and I studied it and read it, and it's helped me grow tremendously. As a matter of fact, I ran away from home once. My parents were going to send me to a Catholic school, and so I ran away and stayed for 2 weeks in the national forest and gained 8 pounds because I was able to eat and cook and feed myself and protect myself in accordance with the Boy Scouts manual. So I love the Scouts, and I'm happy that.
Did we just hear this right? That is what a wonderful story. So you're telling me, just on the manual,
Just on the manual, yes.
That is awesome.
I've read my dad's old manual, and it has pictures and guides and details and how to survive in the wilderness. It's incredible.
It
Albert-
really is.
Albert gained 8 pounds
In 2 weeks.
in 2 weeks. And now, how old were you?
I was 9 at the time.
I bet your mother was very pleased.
Well, I used my pre-lawyer negotiating techniques, and I called home and I wanted 2 things. They were, the cops had been looking for me and all that. I was a missing person for a while, but I wanted not to be sent to Catholic school, and they agreed. And I wanted no whipping for that absence of mine, and they agreed. So
Wait, so you at 9 years old, not only showed I can survive because I have the Boy Scout manual and I can apply it, you did not need to take the LSAT. Your critical thinking was right there.
absolutely.
That's amazing. And then negotiates terms as a 9-year-old. Did you ever go to Catholic school?
Never.
So you successfully,
I successfully prevented myself. Look, I was Catholic kid, and so we would go to catechism.
Right?
And I had enough of the nuns. They were strict and rigid, and I needed a little bit more flexibility, which I got in the public school system.
Absolutely. I could see that. Well explained. Well explained, fam. All right, let's go to our boy Trump. Y'all want to do that? Let's go to Trump and Iran. And man, Trump is he's not happy. I'm not happy. He's not happy. So let's talk about it. Says he's not happy with how negotiations are going. So I don't think that's a throwaway line. That's we talk about signals a lot on the show. All right. So I think that might be signaling a few things. And when we're going to come back from a break. I didn't realize the time. Thank you, Mr. Producer. Sorry about that. But when we get back, we're going to talk about Trump, Iran, and how this is all unfolding and what he thinks about. All right. We'll be right back. All right, all our streaming folks, our audience out there, we love you. Thank you so much for joining in. Hey, so we're going to go to this topic with Iran and the negotiations and all that stuff. Very interesting to see. We'll probably fly through that pretty quickly, maybe, and go. We got to go to that ruling on the LGBT. I think not LGBT, the transgender stuff, right? Yeah. Anywho, we'll talk about that. I'm going to go get some water. Q, talk to the folks.
I have a crazy idea. I think we need to bring the former leader of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, into the talks via Zoom or Teams to explain what happens when you fail to follow through with negotiations with the Trump administration. You know, what do you think, Mr. Albert?
I think that someone in Iran has not watched the news.
Right.
They don't know who they're dealing with.
And I had read an article recently that the Iranian path has historically been wait out American administrations, and eventually you'll get a friendly one. And that's just not going to work here. This is a radically different administration than anything we've seen in the past. And I think that's a good thing. We actually need to have a foreign policy that says we will protect our interests. I think Trump does that. I just don't think Iran is getting the message, and I'm not sure how they're missing it.
They have the ability to create a lot of mischief. The Straits of Hormuz, they'll drive oil prices way up. They can do a lot of damage holding oil hostage. They can attack American bases in the Middle East. They can attack Israel. We'll see. They have a few cards to play, but Trump is holding all of the aces.
I agree. I think one of the things that worries me is I've seen reporting on the number of U.S. missile interceptors available. The SM-1s, the SM-2s, the actual weapon systems that are used to shoot down these ballistic missiles, and just your standard cruise missiles. And there's a massive backlog in our country of producing these weapon systems, especially the defensive ones. That does worry me because we have $1 trillion DoD budget, but how are we this behind?
I cannot understand why the past administration, the Biden administration, permitted our military to become so ill prepared. We should have learned as far back as World War I that if we are going to be a major player on the world scene, we must be powerful.
Absolutely.
Our military must be funded. They must have the equipment that they need. They should be able to go to any place on earth and within a few days clean up whatever mess there exists.
I agree. And with that, Rumble, we're about to go back live. We'll be right back with you.
Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show, broadcasting live from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Check us out at X, at Josh Guillory USA. You can also go to Rumble. I want to see it Rumble, too. That chat was going well earlier. Appreciate you guys. This segment brought to you by my friends over there at Stan's Auto. 2 locations, one in New Iberia, one in Lafayette location right by the Grand Theater. I apologize. Right by Reds. And then Admiral Doyle there in New Iberia. Stan's Auto. Tell Sterling and my friends over there I said hello. Give him a big hug. Right when you walk in. Right to the right. You'll see him. Right?
He is always there.
Exactly. Okay, let's talk about Iran. I said earlier before we went to break, President Trump not terribly happy with the situation here. Says he's not happy with how the negotiations are going. He needs Elbert Guillory in there. He needs the 9-year-old Elbert Guillory that can survive 2 weeks on the doggone Boy Scouts manual and gain 8 pounds and then come back and negotiate terms successfully. Anyway, but I think the president, we talk about signaling a lot. I think that signals something from President Trump. You know, he says, Iran is not giving us what we have to have. All right. He says he hasn't made a final decision on possible strikes. He kind of has to say that. And we have to assume he's willing to do it.
With the major naval buildup that he has just completed sending, 2 major aircraft carriers.
Yes.
And all of the planes and the troops and everything that goes along with that, I don't believe that he's just bluffing. It costs quite a lot of money to build up that armada, as he calls it, and I call it the same thing.
It is. It is. Like the first term, he sent the biggest armada to Korea, to North Korea. So on this, Peter Ducey asked him about the risk of a broader conflict. Peter Ducey with Fox News. Trump didn't dodge it. He said there's always risk when there's war. Thought that was a real answer. I think here's what conservatives hear: strength without panic. Actually, take conservative out. I think Americans in their president can at least see some strength. We can agree with that. But we don't see panic. We see flexibility, which I think is also strength, if used right. But pressure without recklessness. Look at his actions. Look, the first term, look, now, very precise, he's not a proponent of endless wars, thankfully. Not judging anybody for making decisions at the time, because, you make decisions with the information you have at the time. That's what you do. But, I think at least we have a president that understands that.
He does, and he understands the cost, but he's made a commitment to our allies in the Middle East that we will stand firm and that there will be no nuclear armed Iran. And Iran has to deal with that commitment that he's made.
And I think you just said it right. He has to live with that commitment that he just made, and so will they.
Yes.
And he reminded everyone about the Ayatollah. He reminded everyone about what the history is, and he reminded everyone about past operations. Look what he doesn't hide his words. And he basically said, look at the track record. I think that's what he's telling the world here. Not nostalgia, but using it as leverage, which is something he's very good at. And Iran's leadership understands one thing right now: consequences. They were never really forced to understand and really wrap their head around consequences of American presidents and their decisions in quite some time.
You're absolutely right, Josh. And the consequences have arrived. You can see those two big Navy warships out there. That's a lot of consequences right there.
Big, beautiful boats. So when he says he's not happy, and you're right about the miniature armada. It's quite some firepower over there in one isolated area.
Absolutely. Just the number of fighter planes alone.
Yeah.
The number of missiles, the number of troops.
From the scale, from a massive attack to very surgical. It's pretty remarkable what is in the region right now.
Absolutely. There are at least 2 radar ships that will help guide and direct those missiles to wherever they need to go without harming a lot of civilians, without destroying a lot of the infrastructure of the country, but destroying nuclear facilities and destroying missile capability.
Well said. Now, when the president, though, says what he just said, while he can be emotional at times or express himself in an emotional way, I don't think that what we saw was emotional frustration. I think that was a pretty clear, it's on the table. Go ask the drug boats. Not taking life lightly there, but really go ask. We're bringing the fight to the enemy. It's not our policy right now. Our foreign diplomacy says we're going to find the threats. We're going to identify them. We're going to isolate them. We're going to engage and destroy. That's pretty strong, and that pendulum is way over there. I get it, but it kind of has to be right now because look what we had for 4 years. And maybe we get in a more stable posture here in a few years, but right now this is what it takes.
Just ask Venezuela.
Oof, oof.
We'll go in and pick up the leader and take him to New York.
And based on Biden's DOJ's work, That's what people forget. They just took his work, his administration's work, and did something with it.
Finally.
Right. And didn't that start off with sending some boats? I think it did. I think.
Yes, there were.
Or is that? Or is in the region maybe? Anyway, all right. We'll take us a tiny little break, guys. When we get back, man, we'll let's move on to a different topic here. I think that this is very interesting. Something coming out of Texas, the U.S. Fifth Circuit. Oh my goodness. Ooh, this is going to be hot and heavy. We'll be right back. What's going on, all our Rumble folks, all our audience in the streaming world out there? A lot of folks today on X and different platforms. Rumble, appreciate you guys. The Facebooks. I don't know what that other icon. Oh, YouTube, sorry. I probably should know that one. I mean, we do have a YouTube channel. Do we?
We do.
We do. All right, there you go. So we are going to go into this new topic, Texas. So drag shows, this is what my notes say. Texas drag shows in the Fifth Circuit. I could probably take it from there. But being the professionals that we are, we prepare, but it's be pretty interesting. I would say the Fifth Circuit definitely made some good law here. Basically, and I'm going to repeat myself when we go live, but live now. But the court basically said Texas can enforce its 2023 law regulating, governing sexually oriented performances in front of minors. I don't think that's too outlandish.
No.
I don't see where there's a problem.
Yeah, I think if we would have went back 20 years in Texas,
yeah,
everyone would have agreed across the country this would not have been controversial. And I think in 20 years, this will again not be controversial.
Yeah, this should be timeless.
Absolutely.
Minor children there still seems to be a desire to protect minor kids.
And there should be.
Not enough concern. The fact that it got to the point where the courts had to come in and issue a heavy-handed decision. We should never have let it get to that point.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Guys, we're on a commercial break right now. We're going to go, we still got about a minute and a half till we go live. Yeah, why did it take, Albert just asked, and we'll probably repeat ourselves here when we go back on, but why did it take a court? Like, why do we have to go to court over these things?
Exactly.
These are so silly. I'm telling you, people are just using the court system these days. All over the place. I don't get it, but I mean, I guess I get it. It's a tactic that's been allowed. I hope that's a tactic that's not like, I hope that's on the decline.
Absolutely.
And I'm just saying that as a lawyer. You're a lawyer, I'm a lawyer. I just never thought I'd ever see the justice system being used the way it is, and the criminal, then on the civil side too.
After 55 years of law practice, going back to the first 30 years, I would never have predicted the America that I live in right now.
Yeah. Wow.
But
that says something.
The fact that our courts are still, or some of our courts are still standing firm.
Right. Like this one.
We got to do something about those other rogue judges.
Well, pray. Pray. Because, man, I wish we could go in that a lot more. I got you. But I will say this. Both of us will agree. Most of them that we go in front of, overwhelmingly, straight edge, good folks.
Yes. Well, this is down in Louisiana.
That's right. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be off the break, back into live. Okay. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. We are broadcasting live from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Also broadcasting live on rumble.com. Let me tell you about my friends over there at CSafe, SEA, just like the ocean. You can go visit them at csafe.com. If you're in the business and you need FRP products, man, go to my friends over there at CSafe. Actually, if you're building anything from offshore platforms to, drilling sites to even some residential, if it makes sense. Like, you're building something, if you remotely think you might need these products, go to csafe.com, and you know what? You'll be buying from, or at least shopping with, an American-made American-made products here in Acadiana. If I could ever get that out. There you go. But visit my friends over there at CSafe, just like the ocean, SEA. All righty. Let's go to, hey, back to the Boy Scout stuff. You know, when you said that they, during the Biden administration, basically, during that time period, my understanding, that they accepted transgender, they accepted girls into the Boy Scouts.
Yes.
That said they were boys. All right. And what was the other one?
DEI.
So they embraced racism.
Exactly.
They chose to treat people differently based on the color of their skin. All right, got it.
Exactly.
Okay, so they choose to abandon it. This is where leadership and culture really, like the office of the presidency, you look at how much weight it covers and how much weight it has. That's why we should be very selective on the power we give it. We got to stop giving all these local issues to federal anything. But I digress. Look at the culture. If Vice President Kamala Harris becomes President Harris,
oh my God.
I know. I did. When I was thinking it to get it out, I was like, I'm gonna do it. Like I was like the little engine that could, like I think I can think that one. Yeah. So if we would have had, if Kamala Harris would have won, I'm telling you, they wouldn't have changed their policy.
No, not at all. We would have just scouts, not Boy Scouts, not Girl Scouts. We just have scouts, and there would be no moral anchor.
Right.
The basic American values would be back in the toilet.
Or just, and even if you don't want to subscribe, even if you don't want to go that foundational, and you just want to go with what they decided, just on the policy itself, DEI, this is an entity that at one point wouldn't let African Americans in. They remedied the situation. And they said, okay, that's racist. So why would you embrace a policy and an initiative that treats people differently based on something they can't control, like their skin color? And that's what DEI did. You can argue all the intentions. Intentions might have been good. I'm not even saying that. But the way you're going about it is not the way you should be going about it. The leaders that the shoulders that you're standing on right now, that you're trying to make a moment for yourself, those guys that went and marched and gotten arrested and beaten and all those folks, yeah, do what they were saying to do and treat everybody equally. Give everybody the equal opportunity under the law. Actually exercise the principles and freedoms that were so well stated by our founders. But then we have these clubs, this wonderful national program that righted the ship on racism, chose to incorporate DEI and indoctrinate the youth on DEI, and now teach racism, and then also say we're not going to treat an illness, a mental illness. If someone was having a conversation with a light pole, I say this all the time, we would not say, well, that's normal. We would say, this person thinks they're talking to a light pole. We need to help them. So when why would you? I digress. Go ahead, Albert. Make sense of it, please.
It's not possible to make sense of all of that DEI stuff, and the saddest part of all of this is that we lost our moral anchor. Since this nation was founded, we had a moral anchor, and when we have, in those periods when we have gotten away from that anchor, we've not held close to that anchor, we've gotten into trouble, into difficulty, and gone off track. I'm happy to see us embracing our anchor again.
Very much. Now let's go to the Fifth Circuit. So the Fifth Circuit just handed, I'd say they handed Texas a win, all right? And let's gather around on this little discussion, shall we? So the court says Texas can enforce its 2023 law regulating sexually oriented performances in front of minors. Seems like a reasonable law. We were talking about it on Rumble in the break. Seems like most folks would say, yeah, minor children, that's a sensitive topic. Okay? Let me translation in normal human language from regulating sexually oriented performances. Texas can regulate explicit adult-style performances when kids are present. That's what that means. So any of these adult-style performances that these advocates, if you want to, they are advocating for this in front of kids, Texas can do what the Constitution demands of a state to take care of its people.
What kind of couillon will take a child to a sexually explicit, but once again, someone has lost their moral anchor, and the courts, fortunately, brought responsibility back. I'm happy to see what Texas did, very happy to see what the court did, and maybe we will, in other places, not have people doing this kind of weird stuff out in front of little kids. It's just, it's common sense.
And it seems like the pendulum's coming back.
Yes.
And this ruling from the Fifth Circuit, great judicial restraint, in my opinion. Let the states do what the Constitution says. And more specifically, really, really respect the 10th Amendment here and understand what sovereignty means. But I digress from that nerdy topic. Let's go to this a little bit more, because I want to slow it down, this case. I want to slow it down. I want to slow the situation down. I want us to understand what happened, because there's a lot of what's going on. I feel most cable coverage gets a little sloppy. It's a little sloppy. Not blaming anybody. Just saying things happen fast and it's a different world now. But a lower federal judge originally had blocked that law.
Yes.
They said, "Hey, Texas, no, you can't do that. You can have adult situations in front of children without parents being able to block it," basically, saying it might sweep too broadly their law and could impact other forms of performance like theater or dance. So it was too broad. The lower court said that Texas's law, yes, it protects against prohibited conduct, but it's so vague that it prohibits conduct that is not prohibited. Anyway, so the Fifth Circuit stepped in and said, not so fast. No. most of the groups suing, they don't even have standing, the court said, which means their performances don't fall under what the state statute regulates. Okay, that's big. That's big. The court essentially said if your performance isn't sexually explicit under law, the statute isn't touching you. What are you doing? So this is a real technical type situation we find. One group, for example, 360 Queen Entertainment. Q, you subscribe to their site, don't you? No? Oh, never mind.
I was left speechless.
I got him when he was having...
Y'all should have seen Q's face.
I was trying to process.
Yeah, that's all right. It's good. That's good. Good response. 360 Queen Entertainment did have standing because some of their performance included conduct that the judge said arguably could fit that definition. So that narrow piece goes back down to the lower court to actually evaluate the First Amendment claims, and that's how this appellate review works. All right. Now, what I have a question on is, who took this case seriously enough to actually bring this nonsense?
The Bible says that you should bring up your children in a godly fashion. That's common sense also. When the Bible says it and when common sense says it, why? Who
Yeah.
would do something like this, would violate this basic law of common sense?
I'll end the segment with this. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. All right, guys, stick around. We'll be right back. Hold on, I had to go live on this. We're having too much great conversation. Bring us up to speed. So let me see here. So Boebert, because we have notes on this other article we could cover too. Maybe we do go there with a little photo drama. Boebert, I asked Quentin, I asked Q, I asked Elber, I said, is she still on Trump's team or did she jump off at MTG? And Quentin says, what did you say?
So she followed MTG, but somehow managed to not irritate the president.
And I said, how? And then he started to answer. I said, no, on Rumble. Go ahead. How? How could she do that with Trump's history? How is she still on his team? Tell me that.
And I actually have no great answer for it other than President Trump hasn't said mean things about her on Truth Social. And the second someone's off of his team, it is very apparent on Truth Social.
That's okay. So you have objective data, basically. Yeah, you do. Or you have an objective reason,
right,
for your conclusion.
I would say the absence of an established fact leads me to the conclusion.
Okay. If a tree falls in the woods, and no one hears it, does it make a sound?
I think it produces sound waves. As
You
to whether or not
think.
those waves are going to be translated by any being nearby.
No. You think you got to have objective reasons. What do you think, Albert?
Yes, the crickets heard it.
Ah, y'all want to know my answer? It depends. It depends. If you measure it based on audio waves, then I think you said something that this is what I do in my spare time, by the way. I think of these things, and I'm like, because I have a long answer. We just don't have a time, and I don't want to bore you to death. But how much of a nerd am I? Like, if a tree falls in the woods, no one hears. That's what I think about.
I instantly thought of the cilia, the tiny hairs in our ears, and the vibrations.
That is what
and
I envision.
question
So
whether-
that is if that's how you define sound, then we have objective proof or objective data that would support this.
The crickets heard it. They started to run, and so you have a wave of crickets running away from the tree, the fallen tree. That's how you know for sure that the crickets heard it.
Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. We are broadcasting live from the KPEL studios here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Also broadcasting live on Rumble, on my X page, and a whole bunch of other streaming platforms. Shout out to KLFY Plus. And this segment brought to you by my friend over there, Keith Kishbaugh over there at Kishbaugh Construction. Good. We talk about American companies, man. Acadiana companies. Go visit my friend over there at Keith Kishbaugh Construction. Appreciate him. You heard him earlier in the show. He was kind enough to hang out with us. Always have a fun time. Let's go to them phone lines. My boy Renee's on there. He's been so patient. What's up, Renee?
Hey, I want to make a comment. Anyhow, it's bad Bugs Bunny or rioters in Minnesota or congressmen that don't want to stand up for the president. They're all getting money, direction, and motivation from, people that's above the law. People may be living in China, and that's American. And I'm just saying it again. Title 50, when people above the law, sometimes you got to take extreme legal measures. Title 50. George Soros, Title 50, DeVal, whatever the hell his name over there in China.
Hey, look, bring that up, Q. I appreciate that, Renee. Thank you so much, my man. All right, so Q brought it up. Let's see here. Title 50, part of the United States Code, governs national defense. It outlines the powers and responsibilities of the president regarding national security, includes provisions for intelligence operations and management, addresses the legal framework for military operations, wartime conduct, but it also covers the protection of classified information, national secrets, a whole bunch of other stuff. Hey, but there was a point that Renee made with Title 50 one time that I'm just rattling off what the AI summary is on the Googles. Go back to the Rumble. I certainly appreciate that though, Renee. All right, let's wrap up our discussion on Texas. Had a law that said, let me break down the statute. So it's had a state law that defines, because it's good to define it so you know. And that's why the lower court ruling, I don't understand how you could say it was vague. So and the Fifth Circuit agreed. So the statute defines sexually oriented performances as visual performances involving nudity or sexual conduct that appeals to prurient interests when minors are present. That's the language. I mean, this is not Texas bans glitter or Texas bans costumes. It's about explicit sexualized conduct in front of children. It has nothing to do with sexual orientation or anybody's anything other than children being not subjected to naked people having sex. I mean, I'm just saying. And especially when the parents aren't even notified. And without this law, I do believe you would have rogue school boards that would do that. I believe that they would show things that are not appropriate to minors without telling parents, and that also violates the Constitution. Parents have a fundamental right to raise their children. It's a case out in 2000. Anywho, because I think here's where most normal parents, I think, in most zip codes quietly nod their heads. I mean, the state has authority to draw lines around explicit sexual content when minors are involved. I can't believe we have to even say this. I don't think it's radical. I mean, that's been standard in obscenity law for decades, and Texas has quite the case law on it.
Why is it necessary for the Texas legislature to draw up such a law in the first place, which just common sense tells you you're not supposed to do this in front of little kids?
Because of those rogue school boards, I'm telling you. No, not to pick on school board. Isn't that true? Albert, it's probably the same reason why in Louisiana we have a law that says you're 23 until you're 24. We do in succession law. If you're a forced heir if you're 23 or younger. Well, what does 22, 20? You're 23 until you're 24. I love that. I love it. So the ACLU says this creates a chilling effect, boys. They say it could threaten performing arts. I'm just saying, and I don't think I'm being overreactive or over dramatic when I say this is pornography. I'm not wrong. And the state having laws to ban this in front of minors, that's great public policy.
Exactly. For someone to go into court and try to defend this is really ridiculous. Who is it you said? The ACL? What's that?
Yeah.
A couillon losing it? What does that mean? I don't know. But it's nuts.
Hey, all right, we're gonna end on that note. You can't end any better a week than that. Hey guys, thank y'all so much, man. Have a great weekend out there. I know I will. Be careful. May God bless you, and be kind.
Been a lot of fun, guys.
Absolutely.